Breaking news today.
Please subscribe and then check notification box to get all breaking news alert.
Nurse uncovers horror show after what sadistic Muslim worker did to 90-year-old woman. While making her rounds in an elderly care home, a nurse entered the room of a sweet 90-year-old patient to wake her. However, as soon as she opened the curtains, she was greeted by a real-life horror show left by an employee who was supposed to simply clean up the loving grandmother. In the left's attempt to create diversity, Muslims are thrust into crucial authoritative positions despite lacking the qualifications to assume such occupations. Judging solely by their minority status, these multicultural additions soon prove that their religious and cultural beliefs supersede our own values and morality. Before long, the devastating consequences of hiring based on their demographical contribution surfaces as their leftist allies are nowhere to be found. Thanks to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's Islamic bias, Canada's Muslims are finding that their religious status trumps the nation's legal justice. Likely a diversity hire, 53-year-old Shojaden Mohammed-Zadeh, also identified as Soja-Zadeh, took advantage of his minority privilege in the most horrific way. After gaining employment at Mackenzie Richmond Hill Hospital in Toronto, Ontario, Zadeh repaid his gracious employers in the most stomach-churning way imaginable. Canadian-based Global News reports that a caretaker walked in and opened the curtains to 90-year-old Sonia Sheridan's nursing home room to find Zadeh performing ungodly sex acts on the terrified pneumonia-ridden patient. An investigation concluded that Zadeh had repeatedly sexually and physically assaulted at least 5 elderly patients while working as a caretaker who was in charge of bathing, feeding, and changing his victims. As unimaginable as his sexual abuse is, the hospital's response was even more despicable. Instead of reporting the incidents to authorities or the victims' loved ones, the hospital quietly terminated Zadeh, allowing him to be hired by yet another nursing home in which he again sexually assaulted his elderly patients, according to CBC News. Over a month after catching Zadeh in the act, Mackenzie Richmond Hospital finally notified one of the victim's family members, who in turn contacted the police. Disturbingly, this only resulted in Zadeh receiving a slap on the wrist, probably due to his minority status. In January 2016, despite sexually assaulting at least 5 victims, Zadeh was convicted of only 1 count of sexual assault, earning him a paltry 3-year probation sentence with absolutely no jail time. Now, Sonia's family is fighting back, filing a civil suit against the hospital for their negligence. September 14, 2015. Nearly 2 years ago. On the week of her 90th birthday, my grandmother, Sonia Sheridan, tied down, was posted by Ran Sheridan on Thursday, August 17, 2017. She couldn't speak. She didn't speak for months, Ran Sheridan, Sonia's grandson, told Global News. She was holding her fists over her chest part of the time, over her crotch part of the time, clenching her teeth and just having a very frightened, angry look on her face. Her bottom lip was bruised, all shades of blue. Her arms were battered and bruised. One of the nurses walked in and opened the drape around the bed and saw him being a hospital PSW who is responsible for bathing and changing patients, doing ungodly things to my grandmother, Rand said, recalling what officials said. They said it was horrifying and horrible. We won't tell you more. I was sitting there and I said, what did police do? And they said, we didn't call the police, we fired him, Eva Sheridan, Sonia's daughter, said. Ran Sheridan, Sonia's grandson, says that instead of protecting his vulnerable grandmother, hospital officials told his family that the incident was kept within closed doors to not jeopardize the hospital's reputation. He added that he and his mother have been battling the legal system for 2 years without any progress and are only now gaining the media attention their elderly relative deserved all along. Although the investigation report named 5 victims and alleged that Zadeh withheld food from numerous elderly patients, he was only charged with the sexual abuse of 1 female patient, excluding Sonia. Another family member told CBC News that her relatives are still angry over the hospital's response. I asked them, did you notify police, did you file a report? They said, no. We are not mandated to, said the woman, who CBC News is identifying only as TC to protect her mother's identity. It's beyond comprehension. How could you be aware of something that occurred and not notify the authorities? Although Zadeh already has the legal system on his side, he could have easily defended his position by arguing that it was his religious right to sexually assault these non-Muslim women. Indeed, the Quran and Hadith not only condone rape and sexual slavery but encourage them by reminding that captive non-Muslim women are a gift from Allah. Some of the companions of the Apostle of Allah, may peace be upon him, were reluctant to have intercourse with the female captives in the presence of their husbands who were unbelievers. So Allah, the Exalted, sent down the Quranic verse, Surah 4:24, and all married women are forbidden unto you save those captives whom your right hands possess. Abu Dawud 2150, also Muslim 3433. For claiming to be the religion of peace, Islam certainly boasts a great many scriptures commanding the most violent and oppressive acts. Even more evidence of its peaceless nature is the fact that it produces more terrorists than any other religion, despite not even being the largest religion in the world. Thank you for watching this video. What do you think about this? Share this on Facebook and Twitter along with your comments.